Sorry we're a little late, but y'all welcome to Front and Center Ice. I am JC Zargo, joined as always by Nadesify and Tanner Smith. A little technical difficulties this morning, but we're ready to get at it. Before we jump into things, either of you guys watched the Winter Classic yesterday?
Sadly, yeah. Penguins stink.
I did for sure. I was laughing the whole time as Tanner's over there, probably sitting in the corner pouting. But yeah, no, it was good. It's I always love it every year. It was pretty cool. I thought how they all showed up to the stadium there at Fenway with the retro throwback baseball uniforms. That was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't like, though, is the jersey choices. I mean, they just look like bumblebees out there on the ice. Like, they could have chose way better jerseys, in my opinion, than those two. But it is what it is, I guess, right?
It was like an homage to those crappy Steelers jerseys.
Yeah.
No, nothing's as bad as those jerseys. Those are hideous.
Joey, what's up, man?
Our boy Joey in the chat.
Tanner, any other thoughts from you? Or are you just too
no, I just wish there was an extra 2 seconds on the clock there at the end. Could at least seen some overtime, but whatever. 5 losses in a row, they got to bounce back sometime. Hopefully, it's the next one.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, tough to watch. And Jar getting hurt. The guy just can't stay healthy for the life.
I know, man. I thought maybe we'd get to see the e-bug there.
Oh God, no! I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Short slate yesterday, though. Bigger one today. First Winter Classic, and we got another one in next month, I believe, in Carolina.
Yep, that'll be a good one. I wanted to go to that, but it's way too expensive.
Yeah, the tickets for a Winter Classic are nuts, dude.
Insane. Yeah. And hotel prices right now are it's like $800 a night for anything within a mile.
Yeah. It's so that's where I'm from. I'm from Raleigh, so I was debating going out there for that. We'll see, though. We'll see. But we'll just jump into things today. Huge slate of games, all on the late slate, nothing early. First one, bit of a doozy, but I love starting with Nate Defy's favorite team. So Arizona Coyotes plus 270 in Florida to take on the Panthers. Nate Defy, man, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I love this Yotes team. I think it's apparent to everyone on the DFS side over here. They've been good to us, but typically that's at home. I am not going to ride the Yotes train here. I think the Florida Panthers absolutely steamroll this team here. I know Veggie can stand on his head. I know Tanner was in chat talking me off of Veggie and that here. Never will fault anyone for playing him just because he's been profitable for me. But I don't think I'm targeting him here. He did destroy Florida last game, but that was at home. This is now in Florida. So the Yotes are a completely different team on the road than they are at home. At home, they can kind of dictate those matchups a little bit. They just play better, even though it's not really a home stadium, right? But it's just a completely different team. If I look at the numbers here, they're allowing 4.8 goals on average per game last 5 on the road, which is second worst, only to Montreal. But either way, I mean, this Florida team has Barkov back, which is huge for this offense and defense in terms of his talents at the center position. So I definitely like these Florida Panthers here quite a bit. But there is a lot of juicy spots on this slate. But Barkov in general, his price under 7K is kind of criminal for the upside he has. We've seen him come back after being out and drop a hat. He dropped 50 some DK points. And that's not out of the realm of possibilities here against these Yotes here.
Over 6.5. What do you think about
that? So if I look back at his last game was 3-1, Yotes won, but that was again at home. The games before that, Florida won 9-1 at home and 4-2. So obviously 9-1 definitely goes over that total. I lean slightly towards the over a little bit just because I think Florida can score 5 on themselves here, 5 on their own. And then you're just looking for the Yotes to score 1, right, or 2 to push that over. It's just like 6.5. These overs has just been brutal to us all year. So I never really like betting the overs here unless it's like a 5.5 total or 6 total, right? Where we know there's a lot of history between the two teams that the past matchups have gone over, things like that, right? So I don't love it just because I could see. I mean, Florida win in 5-1, and it still doesn't go over that 6.5. So.
Tanner, with Spencer Knight in net, you over under.
If he's in that, definitely kind of the under here. If Bobrovsky was in that, like Nate said, I could see Florida putting up 5 on their own, and maybe the Coyotes sneak in 2 or 3. But Knight's just been the better of the two, and so if he gets the start tonight, then I definitely lean towards the under a little bit more. Especially like you said, these overs have been brutal to us lately. It just seems like every game that should hit the over ends up a 1-0 game somehow. The goalies just stand on their head. I think my favorite play here, we've been talking about a lot lately. It doesn't fit the criteria we've been mentioning before, but you can get the Panthers puck line first period for even plus 100 here. I don't mind that at all. Just like you said, the way the Panthers have been playing on home ice. Barkov's coming off that heater against the Canadians and putting up like a 4-point night or whatever it was. If you want to ride the hot hand with him, he's plus 180 to record at least 2 points. So I don't mind the value there whatsoever in this matchup. I think he's just going to have an incredible night. Usually he's the defensive guy for that team for the most part, but in a matchup like this, I don't really know how much defense he's going to have to worry about playing. They're just offensively, the numbers it's so lopsided for the Panthers here. And like I said, Nate said, I was jokingly telling people to talk me out of the veggie train here, but I don't know if I can stick with it. I love the Coyotes, but again, that's on home ice. So I think I definitely have to ride with the Panthers in this one.
He certainly has upside. He's 7.2K. So, I mean, you could definitely get worse. On 11 games slate, I mean, he could absolutely.
Right. There's better spots.
Just because, I mean, the Panthers, they're on a losing streak here, 2-game losing streak, 2 tough games, one against Carolina, obviously, who's destroying everyone that they faced the last 11. They're 11-game win streak for the Hurricanes. And the Rangers actually had a bounce-back spot there, get-right spot against the Panthers. So I can see the Panthers here kind of doing what the Rangers did to them last game, right, in a bounce-back. And I just don't know if they keep shooting if they're up 4-0, right? 5-1, something like that. So is the saves upside really going to be there after they're kind of demoralizing this Yotes team here on home ice? I don't know if it is. But obviously I have a soft spot for Veggie in that here. 7.2K is kind of fits my build, my criteria, right? For goalies, spend down under that 7,500 kind of mark. I just don't know if I like it here. I'm definitely on the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see here is just the Coyotes. They have their power play hasn't been the best lately, but the Panthers give up the 5th most in the last couple, and they don't have a great penalty kill. So that's the only spot I could really see the Coyotes getting a few goals here. But yeah, not a whole lot to love on that side here, sadly.
Right on. All right. I think that's all we got for that game, so we can move right along. Next game I got on my slate are the Buffalo Sabres at the Washington Capitals. Kemper confirmed in net for the Capitals. Should be a pretty solid game. Could be a high-scoring one. Home team has a bit of an edge here. Tanner, man, where are your thoughts like at this one?
I guess it always pains me to say this, but I think I got to go with the Capitals here. I know I'm looking at minus 165 isn't the most exciting line to take sometimes. But they've just been so good on home ice. I mean, they're allowing only 2.3 goals against. They get Oshie back. The Ovi's been on a heater, 2 hat tricks in the last 5 games or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but he's just been on fire. Like Oshie back in the lineup. They get to dictate, though. They're good defensively. They get those good matchups against the Sabres. They can lock down Tage Thompson as much as possible. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'd go. You can get minus 105 for them to win in regulation there, and I don't hate that, but again, the Sabres one of those teams that they can just sometimes light a team up for 5-6 goals. So I think just this, I know no one ever wants to hear the safe play, but a Capitals money line minus 165 I think would be where I'm looking here. I think there's better spots. If you want to slate like this, you can pick and choose your spots. No reason to reach for anything.
Yeah, for sure. This game definitely was a stay away from me looking at it. Just nothing super enticing about it. As we talked about on Saturday, OV props, never worth the squeeze on those. So it's kind of hard to find a solid bet here. Tage, he's been kind of lackluster. So I wouldn't lackluster is strong, but he just hasn't been playing at his best the past couple of games. So even his props, I wouldn't eye in on, especially playing in Washington. Skinner, I know, is someone you got to look at on the DFS side. Who else you got your eye on, Nathan?
Yeah, so I don't love this game from a DFS perspective. I know the total's 6.5. I know 2 of the last 3 between these two teams have gone over that total. I just don't know if I like it here. These prices are kind of incredible on these guys. Like Ovi's 9K, Tage is 9K, Skinner's over 7K.
Oh, wow.
There's just so many juicy spots on this slate that both of these teams are bottom 6 in allowing goals, respective home road. Obviously, Sabres on the road, and it does look like UPL is in that, which is he's better than the corpse of Anderson. He's been solid, so I kind of lean the under here, to be honest with you, which is kind of scary, right, with the firepower on both sides here. As far as the DFS perspective, I just don't know if I can get here at these prices. I mean, 9K for Tage and Ovi. Obviously, they're both incredible. Ovi's on an absolute heater, averaging 25 DK points in his last 5. Obviously, a 39 and a 42 in there. He does have solid history against Buffalo. For him to pay off a 9K price tag, where we got other guys that are 2K cheaper in nut matchups, like the Bolts that we'll talk about later. Edmonton's on the slate. Ottawa has an incredible matchup at home. So I don't know if I can get here. One thing, Kuz is back on that top line as far as I'm seeing right now with Ovi and Shiri. He's under 6K, has good history. He's playing well against Buffalo. He's playing well as well right now. So wouldn't hate him as like a one-off. It's just I don't love this game too much. So that's where I would look. The power play matchup is okay for Washington here, but not my favorite game. So just maybe a one-off or 2 in this game and kind of look elsewhere.
Fair enough. Yeah. Again, huge slate. No reason to stretch yourself out. Tanner, anything else from you?
No, yeah, like you said, much better spots.
All right, so another interesting matchup that Nate probably just mentioned is the Columbus Blue Jackets visiting the Ottawa Senators. Senators are a team that have come into their own of late, really just climbing their way out of the bottom of the Atlantic Division. Columbus, we've talked about quite a bit on this show about what a disappointment they've been. But despite the Senators still being a bottom tier team, they're minus 225 in this game. Not a line you would have expected maybe a month ago. But Nate, man, tell me why you love this matchup so much.
Yeah, I mean, so I look at my sheet, and Columbus is allowing 4 goals per game last 5 on the road, and the 4th most shots in the league at over 36 per game. And the nice thing about this top line here for the Senators is in the last 3 games, they have 32 unblocked shot attempts for, which obviously you want unblocked shots, right, going on net. But they only have 2 goals to spare for it. So I think there's some positive regression here coming from that line in general, and Timmy Stu, Giroux, and Tkachuk. Their price tags are fair. Tkachuk's back up to 8K, but I mean that's warranted against this Columbus matchup here. Looks like Chabot here is 6.3. He's in a favorable matchup too. Ottawa has the best home power play in the entire league over the last 2 weeks at 38%. Columbus is under 80% on the penalty kill, which isn't incredible, but it's kind of middle of the pack. So that's a favorable matchup, I would say, for Ottawa here. Timmy Stu's playing better. His price tag 6.2K. That's very reasonable in this matchup. So I definitely like this top line here for the Sens, and they're definitely one of the top targets for DFS on the slate for sure. Did we lose him?
I think we lost him.
All right, I'll kick it over to you, Tim.
Yes, I'll just hop over that. Like I said, there's no reason to 12-game slate. You can pick and choose here, and this is one of the games I'm going to be picking and choosing. on paper, this is just a great matchup for Ottawa. Their top six is as good as any teams for the most part. And like we said, Columbus is just an absolute dumpster fire lately. You can get the minus 215 on DraftKings right now, money line. No interest there. We're looking at the numbers. You can get plus 115 for them puck line. That's where I'm going here. I also really like with that offense they can bring, like you said, that power play they can bring. You can get them first period puck line for plus 130. And that's probably the juiciest spot, I think, for them. I just think this is a great matchup for the Senators. And there's just Columbus is not a good team. And like I said, they're top six in Ottawa. They can play with just about anybody. And the Columbus top guys really haven't been playing to the expectations we expected them to with Gaudreau and all that. So definitely an Ottawa smash spot here for me.
Yeah, what's Big Cat's props to Brinkett?
Let's see. Over 1.5 points is plus 135 to score, minus 105. So yeah, they're on the cat train.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals in his last 2 against Columbus, so that's probably why he's at basically a pick 'em there to score. So I definitely like that on the DFS side. Again, he's on that top power play too. Gets you that correlation with that top line on full strength, and even Batherson has been fine.
So he's been very good. I like him.
Yeah, it's just he's 6.2K, and I'd rather pay 6.2 for that top line. One call out on the Columbus side. Emil Bemstrom he's a corpse. He was out for a long time, and he's got a goal in both of his last 2 with 9 shots on goal in both of those 2 games. One was against the Islanders, who are a pretty solid defensive team, actually. And then he kind of exploded a little bit against Chicago, which obviously everyone explodes against them. So don't hate him as a punt. He's on that second line as well, which I typically like on the road more, like I've said multiple times. But he is 4.9K. I wish he was cheaper than that. But again, a flyer on him as the last man in. I don't absolutely hate it, but I think he can do better there.
Fair enough. So we're all riding with the puck line for Ottawa at plus money, right?
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite plays here.
Hey Tanner, one quick thing. Does Jack Roslovic have props up?
1 second. I just went to the next one. I'm sure he does. Goal scorer. Where's Roslovic? Yeah, goal scorer. He's plus 250.
So I wouldn't hate that. He's got 3 goals in his last 2 games against Ottawa.
He's almost even money to record a point, minus 115. That's not a bad spot there.
So I don't hate that as well on the DFS side. He's even cheaper than Bemstrom. Obviously, they're both on the same line, but he does see top power play run. Sees about 18 minutes a game as a center, which is a lot. That's good minutes. So I definitely don't mind that as an anytime score at 2.5 to 1. Like I said, last game against Ottawa, he had a goal. He had the only goal. Played 20 minutes. And then the game before that, he played 18 minutes, had 6 shots on net and 2 goals. So definitely don't hate that.
Right on. Cool. We good to move on?
Yeah, almost that.
What's that?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so my favorite spot on the board right here is the Carolina Hurricanes visiting the New York Rangers. Shesterkin's confirmed or likely? Likely in net for the Rangers, which to me is just a blow-up spot here. Over-under sitting at 5.5, but Carolina minus 130, puck line at plus 198. Nathan, you mentioned it earlier, how incredible this Hurricanes team have been of late. So just seeing how terrible Shesterkin has been this season, I don't see any reason to not drill that puck line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. The only issue is Rangers are only allowing about 25 to 26 shots per game on home ice. So I don't I mean, the total here is 5.5. So from a DFS perspective, I mean, Vegas definitely knows these are 2 defensive focused teams for the most part, especially Carolina. They're absolutely suffocating on defense. We've seen it over this 11-game stretch here where they're just on a tear. In terms of offense, I mean, yeah, they shoot the puck the second most on the road. It's just I see them more defensive focused here, especially on the road. facing Mika, facing Bredman, facing some of these big guys where Rangers, like I said, are coming off a big win against Florida, right? Kind of a get-right spot. They were on a little losing streak there, got shut out against Washington, lost to Tampa in a dogfight, 2-1. So I just think that Carolina is going to be more focused on slowing trying to stop this line here from the Rangers and getting out with a 2-1 type win, right? Like I know the total's only 5.5, but I could see it even playing under that. However, one call, their last 2 games were 5-2 and 6-2. So, and both Ranger wins. So maybe the Rangers can kind of stifle this team a little bit here and end this winning streak, which you have to think there's some regression coming, right, for the Canes here. I mean, 11-game win streak in this league is pretty incredible. So does it get to 12? I don't know. I kind of lean to the Rangers, to be honest here, to end it. But from a DFS perspective, I'm not going here in terms of targets. Actually, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I don't hate Igor. He's 7,500. Canes shoot the second most in the league, so the saves are going to be there. If he can get out with a win, that's great. But he has incredible – his last 5 games against these Hurricanes, he's got 20 DK points, 28, 111 spot there where he gave up 3. They lost 3-1, a 24 and a 36. So he has the upside there at the price tag on this slate. And everyone's going to ride this Hurricane squad just like they have the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But on the flip side, Kochikov, or I probably butchered that. Yeah, he's not been good against the same Ranger squad. Obviously, he came in relief at both of those. But his last relief start, he saw 2 shots and gave up a goal in one of them. And the game before that, he shot 12 shots and gave up 2. So, I mean, that's kind of why I lean Igor here and the Rangers side.
All right, fair enough. Tanner, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Like you said, the Hurricanes have been an absolute wagon. They're with 10 in a row, 11 in a row, whatever it is. They've been killing teams. Rod the Bod doesn't let anybody breathe when they're playing against the Hurricanes. I definitely like the under here, even at 5.5. I usually avoid those, but just the way these teams play, especially Carolina, they shoot the puck a ton, but it seems like they shoot the puck right at the goalie most of the times. They really don't score that many goals for how much they do shoot. I like Igor here a bit. I think the Hurricanes definitely pull this one off, but I don't know. I don't like it enough to take it. They're minus 125 money line. I think if anything, I go towards Igor's shot prop. It's at 29.5 right now, minus 110. It's not my favorite line in the world either, but I think if you want action on this game, that's where you can go there as well. It's not the most exciting here. Like you said, 2 very defensive teams and under 5.5. Like, it isn't super exciting, but you can definitely lean there. I wanted to go with Igor's goals against under 2.5 at minus 105. But I think if you're going to play that, just take the total under in general. There's no reason to get specific with it. But yeah, from a betting standpoint, not the most exciting game. Just 2 teams that can lock it down, and it should be a good matchup to watch. But yeah, from a betting standpoint, not a whole lot to love here.
Fair enough. Nate's Fine Man, has Svechnikov made any of your lineups since the Hurricanes have been on this winning streak?
He has. Yeah, he made a core piece a couple games back. Let me take a look at some of these prices here. Yeah, I mean, Teravainen is still cheap. I mean, he's 4.2K. Jarvis is 4K, which is fine. It's just, like I said, I don't love this game from DFS. Svech is 6.4K. He's playing well, but doesn't have the best history against new Rangers. I know history's not everything, but I mean, if it's a good enough sample, I weigh it a little bit, and it's tend to do pretty well for me. So that's where I'm at. Svech at 6,400 in this matchup. Could he get there? Yeah, absolutely. But am I going to spend that salary versus other spots that are much more DFS friendly? Probably not.
Yeah, no, I mean, Svechnikov perfectly fits the mold for the type of player Tanner was talking about because he gets his shots off. He had 7 against New Jersey, but no goals. And so that's not – you normally don't see those types of numbers very often.
He's averaging 4.6 shots per game in his last 5. but he's only got 2 goals in those 5 games.
Right. Yeah. His shot props at 2.5, so an absolute steal there. Pretty solid.
Don't hate that for sure. Yeah, I definitely don't hate that.
Cool. Tanner, anything else before we move along?
No, nothing for me.
Fantastic. Last game at 7:00 time slot is the St. Louis Blues in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. Samsonov is in net. Toronto, I mean, pretty typical teams here. Nothing too crazy. Toronto continues to tear up this league. Blues not playing as well as they would like. Been on a little bit of an uptick here. So, Tanner, man, do you give any edge to St. Louis?
No, not even a little bit. They're without O'Reilly. They're without Tarasenko. I mean, their third, fourth lines are going to be, those glorified AHL, barely NHL players. So I think from a betting, there's not a lot here. There's no value. I want to see like team totals, even goalie props. A save under Samsonov under 2.5 goals against is -155. Like even that just doesn't really get me all that exciting. Toronto's just been so good, especially on home ice. They're just burying teams. The first in scoring, almost dead last, or I guess first in goals against, depending on how you look at it. They're first in shots for, power plays clicking at 33%. Like, I don't know, there's just not a whole lot of value here. I'm sure from the DFS side you can find some things. And following off that, like their third line, we've talked about them so many times. I mean, Kerfoot to score is +310. Where'd the rest of them go? Yarncrook, he's been good, +265 to score. I lost the last one there. But Engvall, he's +450 to score. These depth guys for Toronto, I can see. If you want any action on this, I think that's where you go. You can get good value on those third line guys, but for the most part, there's not a lot to love here. There's just no value in it, from what I can see.
Fair enough. Nate Defy, man, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, I think this screams Toronto steamroll. The Blues lost two of their guys that they rely on heavily, obviously in Tarasenko and auto parts there and O'Reilly. They got 5 guys on IR. They're kind of injury riddled. Torrey Krug's on IR as well. And now they have to head into Toronto to face Austin Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, and just this full healthy squad who are getting Rasmus Sandin back, I believe, as well. So Toronto's getting healthy. Blues are just keep getting more injury prone. And yeah, I mean, this third line should absolutely eat against these AHL squads down on these depth lines for these Blues here, and they're on home. I typically like I said, 1 and 3 on home ice, and 2 and 4 more. Obviously, you don't get a ton of the fourth liner, but more on the road. So I think that this third line sees a little bit more increased ice time. Kerfoot at +3.5 to 1 to score. Definitely like that quite a bit. He had a goal against these Blues last game. And the 2 games before that, he had 3 assists in those 2. So he's definitely heavily involved, definitely plays well against these guys. He's 3.1K on the DFS side. Don't hate that as a filler piece. That whole line, actually, I mean, Engvall gets power play run, sees that third line, sees about 14 minutes per game. He's $100 more than min price. Don't hate that. He's playing well, has solid history too here against the Blues. And Yarncroc is same thing. He's seeing more ice time, right around 15 minutes. Second line, second power play. Has had 2 goals last game against St. Louis. So that's probably why his props are lower odds than what Kerfoot's are. But don't hate any of those guys as value pieces. And then we haven't seen an Austin Matthews absolute blow up spot in quite a few games. I mean, his last one was against Calgary, where he had a 3-point night, 8 shots on goal. I can see something like that happening here against this Blues team, and Toronto just letting these Blues know that, hey, we're the real deal here. You made some noise a little bit here over the last stretch. You're now injured, and now you're coming to our house. And Toronto did drop one 2 games ago, so I can see them steamrolling this team here. And Austin Matthews, it might be one of the best plays in the slate here. I think his price is up there, but he has the upside to blow the slate open.
So the books agree. They got him at minus 140 as a goal scorer. I don't know how often you see a goal scorer at minus 140. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, Bunting.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, so Bunting, I don't hate Mike. I don't love Michael Bunting as a player, but you look at his last 5 games, he's consistently 12 DK points or more outside of the game against Arizona where Arizona punched him in the mouth. I think I said to take Arizona's money line on that game because, again, Arizona at home. They won 6-3. Kind of shocked everyone. That's the game that obviously Toronto, they ended Toronto's winning streak, a little winning streak there. Bunting just came off a double dong against Colorado. 4 shots on that. He's averaging over 4 shots per game at 4,700 on that top line with Matthews. So it definitely lowers the stack price there. He's probably going to see some ownership just because it's a pretty good matchup for Toronto, and they're a pretty heavy favorite. But don't hate that at all either. And obviously Nylander as well to go there with the stack.
So how many shots did you say Bunting was taking?
Over 4 shots per game, last 5 average.
I said they got him at over 2.5 or plus 120. So
so last game against Colorado,
it's looking good.
Last game, Colorado, he had 4. Obviously, he had 2 against Arizona, and they got destroyed. Had 6 game before that, 3 the game before that, 6 the game before that. So in all but 1 of his last 5, he goes over that prop. So I like that quite a bit.
I say you're getting good value for that too, especially on that top line with the Matthews and all that. Matthews gets all the attention for good reason.
Right.
Right on. All right. Love it. So potential blow-up spot here. And with especially given all those new guys, the defense is going to be strong for St. Louis. So it could be a huge blow-up spot, no doubt. Keeping it moving, though, next game on the slate, we got the Calgary Flames visiting the Winnipeg Jets. Hellebuck is expected in net for the Jets, and it'll probably be Markstrom going against him. Hellebuck's, man, he's making a push for the Benzina Trophy. Don't know if he'll catch Allmark, but he's been great of late. This is probably one of the easiest dogs to bet on the board, in my opinion, plus 116. Tanner, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking for a good value play on a dog here, DraftKings has him at plus 120. Hellebuck on home ice. I say it all the time. He's lights out as a goalie. I mean, they've slipped a little bit lately. I mean, they're 5-5 over their last 10. But if you look at some of these losses, like it's on the road to Washington, on the road in Boston, Seattle gave them 1 on the road. Like the losses aren't the worst losses in the world, and I still do like them as a team. I like his shot props or his Hellebuck save props whenever those do come out. I mean, just looking at the numbers here, on the road, Calgary's first in shooting, almost 36 a game. Winnipeg doesn't give up a ton of shots against, but I think Wheeler's still out. I mean, he's their big defensive player up front. Calgary looks a lot better over the past couple of weeks than they started the year out. And I think people expected them, especially after those big trades, moving Gaudreau and Kachuk and all that, bringing in Huberdeau and Kadri. I think their lines are starting to click a little bit more. So I think shot props are going to go there. But like you said, yeah, if you want to pick a dog here, plus 120 for the Jets, I think is a great play.
Right on. Over under at 5.5 as well in this one. Given the goalies in net, do we think that's a strong play? Or
I don't know. Both these teams are scoring at a much higher rate than I think most people would expect them to be. I mean, last 5, Winnipeg's averaging over 3 goals. Calgary's averaging over 4 goals. They're 4th in scoring. So I don't think it's a terrible play to go under, but I could definitely see this one blowing up, at least just hitting that over mark, because DraftKings has it at even 6 right now, and I think that could easily be a push at least.
For sure. All right. Nate Defy, man, who are you targeting in this game? And you are on mute.
Yeah, you donkey. Welcome to the club.
First time in all these shows I put myself on mute, and of course I forgot to unmute myself.
Typically how it goes.
Yeah. So I actually lean towards the under here. I'm going to go against Tanner. In the last 5, it's pushed twice and it's lost 3 times. So the last game, 3-2, 3-1, 2-4, 0-4. And 5-1. So it's pushed in 2 of those last 5. And with the Jets being at home, Helly's been way better at home than he has been on the road. But one thing to call out here as I'm looking through this, Calgary's got 2 lines in the top 5 in unblocked shot attempts for the last 3 games, and in their third line and Backlund, Coleman, and Mangiapane. They have 35 unblocked shot attempts on goal in the last 3, and then Lucic, Huberdeau, and Kadri is the other line in the top 5. They're sitting at 33 unblocked shot attempts on that. So I wrote those guys up in the playbook that'll be published coming up here this afternoon for the DFS side. It's just I don't love this game from a DFS perspective. Like I said, I lean the under. These price tags on most of these guys aren't extreme values. Could this game pop? Absolutely. But do I see it popping? I don't think so. So I definitely I lean, if you're going to pick a side, I lean towards the slight favorite here in Calgary just because they're shooting the puck more, they're scoring more. They have a better power play matchup with Winnipeg's penalty kill is not good. The only thing is Winnipeg does limit the opportunities. But if they do get on the power play, I could see them scoring 1 or 2 here. And that might be the difference maker in like a 2-1, 3-1 type game where Calgary squeaks it out. Again, both goalies are viable here in that their price tags are 7,500, 7,900. For the savings, definitely at home, I lean towards Helly at 7,500 here. But overall, I don't love this game from DFS. Both goalies are viable, and that's where I would look in the value pieces on Calgary in that third line or some of those second liners that have some value price tags.
Fair enough. Cool. Anything else before we move along? Pretty straightforward one. Cool. And as always, make sure you hit that like button. We are presented by Red Pier Sport. Come and check us out. As Tanner mentioned, he's got the playbook. These guys are breaking down every game, giving you the do's and don'ts of the NHL slate for your DFS lineup. Tanner, he's always dropping the best bets articles. So if you're more on the gambling side, he's got you covered damn near every day. I'm putting out articles myself. Tanner's and my articles, they are free. So even if you aren't a subscriber, you can head on over to the website, check out our work. And if it's something you like, feel free to subscribe. But at least you can do while you're here is hit that like button. Next game on the slate, Canadians at Predators. Canadians at Predators. It's Forsberg Tuesday. Crazy that the Predators, though, are such a heavy favorite hosting the Canadians. Canadians aren't great, but I don't think they're as bad as a plus 195 money line would imply. Tanner, what are your thoughts?
No, I definitely don't think they're as bad as that line is saying they are. I don't think they're good, especially not on the road. I mean, they're dead last in goals allowed in the last 5, allowing over 5 a game. I mean, this is just, like you said, Forsberg Tuesday. Let me pull that up. It's an easy one. Plus 115. I mean, we have to bring it up. I'm sure people are sick of hearing about it. I mean, again, in a game like this, how can you not take that one? You get plus money on them to cover the puck line, get a little plus 105. Probably about as far down as I'd go for a puck line there, but I just don't see the Canadians even hanging in this one. You take team totals here, the value for it's not even there for the Predators. You have to go out to over 4.5 to even get plus money. I mean, for the Predators, you're getting minus 135 for them to score over 3.5 goals. I don't think that's a terrible spot at all. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see anything from the Canadians here. Forsberg plus 115. We say it every week. It's Forsberg Tuesday.
Forsberg Tuesdays. Tanner, man, you got any leniency towards the Canadians in this one?
I don't at all. I just don't see. Saros has been night and day on home ice compared to away. He's a completely different goalie in both scenarios, and the Canadians just aren't scoring goals. Right now, they're averaging under 2 goals in the last 5. I mean, Nashville hasn't been the best. They've been leaky, but I mean, who have they played in some of these? They're 3-3-4 in the last one, but I mean, a loss to Vegas, lost to Dallas, lost to Colorado, 2 losses to Colorado. Like, the teams they're losing to, they're good teams. So I mean, I don't see the Canadians doing a whole lot in this game. That being said, the Canadians probably win like 8-1, and Saros will drop a complete stinker there. But no, I'm totally on Nashville's side here in any way you can find value.
try to find some love for the Habs, but I don't think it's there.
I like it. They're like the Canadian. They're like the Coyotes for me. When they're on home ice, they get that matchup dictation and stuff like that. I like them there, but not here, not at all.
With Sam Montembelt, if I'm saying that right, in net, Nades and Five-Man, you got any love for the Habs?
Yeah, no. So I'm going to be going against the old monster truck here in that with Forsberg Tuesday. He's got 5 goals in his last 3 games. Obviously on Tuesday, his numbers are just absolutely insane. Go look it up if you don't believe us here. But I think he's got over 70-some goals on Tuesdays in his career, which is kind of incredible.
Ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it makes any sense, but he has the absolute stone nut matchup here against these Canadians. They get to dictate the matchups as well. The power play has an incredible matchup. The Canadians' penalty kill is 56%, which is probably one of the lowest we will ever see. Obviously, and the funny thing is that's not even the worst in the league on the road. And they do allow 4 chances per game. So you put Forsberg, Josie, they have some value pieces as well in that top power play. They're going to score 2, 3, 4 goals even in this matchup. I mean, Monster Truck can stand on his head. I'd be less lenient on these Preds if Allen was in net for the old RPS hero, Jake Allen, for the Canadians here. But I love these Preds. I just wish they were easier to stack, to be honest with you. I mean, their correlation is dog shit. And their team is just like outside of Forsberg and Josie. They do have some value in like Nino Niederreiter. He's on that third line, second power play. He's playing well. He's shooting over 3 times per game. So don't hate that. He's 3.8K, like him quite a bit. And then Thomas Novak, a rookie they called up this year, made his debut against Edmonton back in December. Don't hate him. He is on that 4th line, but he's on the top power play. And then Juice Parsisnian, I think is how you pronounce it. He does skate with Forsberg on that top line. He's under 4K as well on that top power play as well. So that's where I would look is kind of that top line, top power play correlation here for the Preds. And I don't even hate a 2-man stack in Josie and Forsberg, Roman the Great and Forsberg Tuesday. It is kind of expensive, but you could see 3-4 goals combined between those 2, and the Preds absolutely steamroll this Canadians team, and it's those 2 only doing the production. So now that I say that, this 4th line and 3rd line will score all the goals, and Forsberg will get shut out, but I just don't see it. Forsberg's one of the top plays in the slate. His price is too cheap in this matchup. And I don't know if his ownership gets crazy because it's an 11-game slate and there's all the other powerhouses on slate for sure. So that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Try to find some love for the dogs here, but can't always do it. Moving on then. We had someone in the chat yelling for the Blackhawks. They are a plus 270 dog hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think I can do it. But I don't know. Maybe one of you guys got to read that I don't. Nate Five-Man, you got anything good to say about Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, man, if you want to throw your money at that, you might as well just throw it into a DFS lineup and hope you hit.
I'll give you my Venmo if you want to get rid of that money.
Yeah. Venmo, PayPal. I mean, I'll take hard-earned cold cash, like whatever you want. Champino Sports over here, picks and knowledge. I mean, I'm all for picking dogs, but I mean, you're gonna take them against Tampa here, who have a get right spot here, in kind of a steamroll spot. I mean, Blackhawks allow the most goals per game last 5 on home ice at over 4, and points on an absolute tear. Hagel's on a tear. Kucherov's on a tear. Hedman's doing great. Like, you put that top line, especially on the power play with the Blackhawks at under 63% on the penalty kill, it doesn't bode well for that, even at dog money. I mean, if they were 400 or 500 dog, like, yeah, okay, 5-1, 4-1, I can see throwing a unit or 2 at that, but I'm not doing it here against the Tampa there's better dogs, I think, to bet, and you can even parlay some of these pick'em games to get better odds. So that's where I would go. I would not go towards that Blackhawks dog money here.
Tanner.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is just so lopsided on paper. The Blackhawks just absolutely stink. I think the best, like you said, Point's been on an absolute tear. 5 goals in the last 5 games. He's still plus 125. You're giving me plus money for him to be a goal scorer here in this matchup. I'm going to take that every single time. I mean, at some point he's not going to score, but in a matchup like this, I just can't bring myself off that. Like you said, Hagel's been on a tear. He's plus 190 as a goal scorer. You can even get in some of the depth guys. I mean, Killorn hasn't been the highest scoring guy of all time, but he's plus 225. Hedman's going to get some great looks tonight on that power play and everything. He's plus 275 as a defenseman there. So I don't hate that. But I mean, beyond that, this is just so lopsided. There's just not the value I want to see before I even really take a deep dive. The team totals just aren't there. You want plus money. You got to go out to 4.5 goals here, which I actually don't hate that in this one. They could definitely light this team up. You're getting plus 115 on them to score 5 goals. I don't like going out past the 3.5 there. 4 goals is usually my limit that I like to take for the team totals there. Not saying they can't do it. They could easily put up 6, even 7 goals on this Blackhawks team, but I draw the line on that one. Just not my favorite thing to do. 5 goals is a lot. It's just very lopsided. And I think if you really want to make a play here, yeah, the goal scorer here, I'm riding with Point plus 125. Give it to me.
Love it.
Yeah, so Tampa's 9-1 in their last 10 against this Blackhawks team. So I think you can use your money better there.
Yeah.
Champino. I think and the funny thing is 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals, 4, 6 is their goal totals for this Tampa squad in their last 5. I don't see how they don't steamroll this team. And one thing to call out, though, Patrick Kane is playing for a trade here to round out his career. Tampa has not been at exactly lights out. They're still allowing over 3 goals per game on the road. Kane, I don't hate him as a one-off. He's still shooting the puck between 3 to 5 times roughly on average per game. Playing well, top line, top power play, obviously. He's seeing close to 20 minutes per game. He's really the only bright side outside of Seth Jones that these Blackhawks have. So wouldn't hate him as a one-off on the DFS side. 6.2K at probably 0% ownership, just because everyone's going to be riding these bolts here. So that's where I'm at. And then the call out on Killorn, he's playing well. He's shooting right around 2 times per game. The only thing is I mean, he doesn't have incredible history, and I like to kind of pinpoint history on these anytime goal scorers. It's worked out pretty well if you followed along all year so far. So don't love that. I think we can get better odds somewhere else, to be honest, on some of these punt goal scorers for sure.
Right on. You can't argue with that. Next game is between 2 opponents who are currently tied in the Pacific Division. The Seattle Kraken head up to Alberta, take on the Edmonton Oilers. Don't have goalies confirmed yet in this one. Home team is a pretty solid favorite here. I kind of got a leaning towards the visiting Kraken. Tanner, how about you?
I do like the Kraken. It's just after what the Oilers did to them in Seattle last game. I mean, the McDavid show showed up to town and just put on an absolute clinic. And going back to Edmonton, where the Oilers get to dictate those matchups, I just don't see how you can fade them. I mean, I know they're not the best team. They're leaky. No goalie. Who's the suspected goalie? Is it Soup or Skinner?
It's Skinner.
Yeah. So
Skinner and Jones.
Yeah, so definitely still on the Oilers side there. If it was Soup, maybe you could make a case for the Kraken as he hasn't been very good lately. But it's just you get plus 150 for the Oilers puck line there. I don't see how that's not in play. I do like the Kraken, don't get me wrong. It's just after what happened last game, that was on the road for the Oilers. Give me the puck line for the Oilers. I love that one. And I found I was joking about McDavid or Matthews being a minus 140. You got McDavid as minus 175 as a goal scorer.
What?
That's ridiculous. So
Yeah, so
That's
I mean that might be the best bet on the board, to be honest.
yeah, I don't for that. Yeah, minus 175 for that. That's just I can't bring myself to take a goal score from minus 175. That's
I thought you said plus 175.
oh
I
no
was
no
like, oh,
minus
yeah,
175
okay,
minus yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, if you want
I'm
value there,
not laying that much. I'm
you can get
not laying
Zach
that much
Hyman
here.
for plus 150. That's not a bad spot there for a guy like that. He's
That's
been
pretty
playing
solid.
well lately.
He
I
had
mean,
2 goals in their last game.
yeah, so he's been playing really well lately. So I think if anything, you go Hyman to score a goal. Definitely don't take McDavid to score. I mean, I'm not saying don't take. He's going to probably score. I'm saying for that value, that's a joke as a goal scorer. But yeah, what I say, Oilers money line or puck line plus 150. I don't hate that. If you want to go 60-minute line, you're getting a good payout there, minus 105 for the Oilers. So I might be going there just because I've been getting burned with some of these puck line plays lately. But yeah, it's the McDavid show in McDavid's home ice. I just don't see how the Kraken pull this one off.
Fair enough. Nate's fine, man. Who are you targeting in this matchup?
Yeah, so the Oilers are sitting at minus 165. I see right now, which is closer than what I thought. But with both teams being tied, I kind of makes sense. One thing I do like though is after a team's been absolutely embarrassed, they come out with a vengeance the next game. So I could see Seattle here playing with a little heart, just because they got a touchdown dropped on them last game against the same team. Edmonton might be without Leon again here, which we saw last game. They lost 2-1. Obviously, I think they were without Leon in that game that they scored 7 against the same Kraken squad too. So take that for what it's worth. Hyman's got a great price tag here at home, top line, top power play at 6,600. McDavid's 9,400. Do I get there? I don't know. McDavid sees at least 20% ownership every slate. And could he kill me? Yeah, he could absolutely bury me. He had 39 points against the same Kraken squad a couple days ago. And I didn't play him then. So am I going to play him here? Probably not. I'd rather play for Matthews at a cheaper price tag or some of these other guys. The Kraken do have some value here. Their price tags are right around that mid tier to value tier. And Edmonton's not exactly stone walls in that, especially on home ice here. They don't play a lot of defense. They like to run up and down the ice or skate up and down the ice here and kind of get on a track meet with the world's best hockey player there in McDavid on their team. So that's where I'm at. Kraken got some value there. Edmonton's fine. I don't love it, to be honest, for the ownership that this Edmonton team likely sees, because they see ownership every single site they're on, and especially against this Kraken squad. When people are there, it's a light NBA slate, so we're probably going to see more people jumping the NHL streets, and everyone falls into the trap of game log watching. And 2 games ago, they're going to see the same matchup and Edmonton dropping a touchdown, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to slam these guys, which could it work out? Yeah, absolutely. But am I going to do it? Probably not. And more times than not, I fade Edmonton, and more times than not, it's profitable. I know Matty Ice, my counterpart, feels the same way. But I'll look more into it, and my cores and stuff will be out on the site. But that's where I'm at currently.
How do you approach
Love it,
playing
man.
this Kraken guys? I know they're cheap, but it seems like they're like one of those teams that just gets scoring from every single line. Every time I play them, I always pick the wrong line.
Yeah, so that's the issue with the Kraken. Is it's not a stackable team. It's more mini stacks and more like one-offs or 2-man stacks. So like Bjorkstrand right now is shooting the puck the most on this team, followed by Eberle. So either of those guys, I mean, they're both in the mid 4s, would be fine. They're both see power play time. Donato has actually been playing great. He's on that 4th line, so likely sees a little bit more ice time here on the road. 2,900, still shooting over. I mean, he's $400 over min price. He only sees about 13 minutes a game, but he's at least active in shooting the puck in those 13 minutes. So he's right around 3 shots per game, averaging right around 10 DK points in his last 5. So don't absolutely hate that. The corpse, Brandon Tanev, has been actually solid as well the last 5, averaging 14 DK points roughly per game, and he's 2,800. So maybe grab a a little 2-man stack there that's under 6K, and just kind of spend everywhere else. And they get Edmonton defense for the whole game, so wouldn't hate that.
Right on. Can't argue with that. And guys, that's why you guys got to be a Run Pure subscriber. Nate's fine, Matty, guys, dropping the core plays, the info every day for every slate. So especially when stuff happens, late in the day, injuries, changes in between the pipes, these guys got you covered. 2 more games to go. Dallas Stars visiting the LA Kings. Another tight game, should be a good one. Both teams been playing extremely well of late. Again, I got a bit of leniency when I see the home team as a dog. Kings money line sitting at plus 106. Tanner, man, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I certainly don't mind the Kings here as being home dogs, like you said. I mean, Dallas has been light and shit up lately. I mean, they're fifth in shooting. They're not allowing teams to score on them. But I mean, LA's been better in the last couple games. I know I always dog on about not playing defense with some of the best defensive forwards in the league, but it seems like they're turning that around. I mean, I think part of that might be Phoenix Copley being in that. He's been much better than Jonathan Quick has. So I think, like we were talking about the Jets as a dog here, I don't mind the Kings as a dog here. It's hard to fade the Stars. I didn't love this game from a betting standpoint. I know Nate Zafai said he was fading the Stars in this one from a DFS standpoint, and I get that. I think I kind of follow suit here. Nothing really jumps off the page to me. I mean, the over's sitting right at 6, and I don't mind that with how these teams have been scoring. It's just, like I said, it's tough to know like which Ottinger you're going to get in that. He's either lights out or he can't stop a beach ball. It's just, you never know with them. So I think for the most part, I'm avoiding this one. But I think if you're someone looking for a dog, the Kings aren't a bad spot to take it though.
Sure. Nate's 5 man. What are your takes here?
Yeah, I'm going with the Kings here. Excuse me. I think the Stars' little run here, 4-game run, comes to an end here with the Kings dictating the matchups on home ice. I think Kopitar and that top defensive line is that obviously they can score, but they're very good defensively as well. It is going to be chasing around RoboCopter and these boys here, VIPs, poster childs. I think he has a poster on every ceiling in his house of one of these guys. So Dallas did get to these same Kings last game, but I see that changing here. Copley's in that expected at least. He's much better than Quick in my opinion. It was a 2 last time he faced these guys. So I see this playing towards the under. Dallas is 30th in the league in allowing goals at under 2 per game on the road last 5. And the Kings are 27th in allowing 2.3. So I definitely lean the under here. Both goalies are viable in that. Both are at fair price tags. Phoenix Copley's at 7.6. Ottinger is at 7.8. Both have upside. I lean more towards Copley just because I lean to the King side. I like that dog money. Even though it's not a ton, it's basically even money there. But I think they can win this game. And Dallas does shoot the puck 5th most, so the saves upside there as well. Even though the Kings are probably going to neutralize that a little bit just because their defense, they kind of limit shots on that. But with that many shots, I think the saves upside is there for Copley. And I definitely don't love this game from the offensive perspective, but both goalies I think are viable here.
Love it. You taking the under 6?
Yeah, I definitely lean the under. But every time I go towards an under, it pops off for 9 goals. So I don't know. I take that with a grain of salt there. But
you can't definitely get those right.
Yeah.
No,
I would say stay away from betting totals in NHL, and you're probably much more profitable and grab some of these goal scorers or shot on net props, things like that. Is definitely probably much more profitable because apparently we can't pick totals to save our.
No,
what?
We can't. Tanner, man, anything you'd like to add?
No, like I said, I'd probably just be avoiding this one for the most part. Not up there as far as the things I really like on this slate.
Fair Fair enough. Then we head into the last game. New York Islanders heading across the country and north to take on the Vancouver Canucks. Pretty much even money on the board here. Over-under sitting at 6. Tanner, where do you sit on this even matchup?
I mean, I can't figure out Sorokin to save my life. Whenever I say he's going to be good, he's just garbage. Whenever I say I think he's going to be garbage in a matchup, he turns into one of the best goalies in the league that we all know he can be. So I'm going to have to avoid this one out of principle. Right now, I've got Sorokin in my DFS lineup, I think, but that might change. I'm going to have somebody talk me off that ledge as well. So I guess you can go with the over. I don't know. Looking at the numbers, like both teams Vancouver's allowing over almost 4 goals a game. I mean, like I always say, whenever they're playing, the overs in play. The Islanders are allowing over 3 goals a game, because neither team's really scoring that much. They're both averaging 2.56 goals for in the last 5. And just the Islanders aren't shooting a ton, under 25 shots for, and they're allowing 35 for. So like that's kind of where the whole Sorokin play comes in for me. If he plays lights out, they can win this game. He might have a 40 save, allow 1 in or something like that. And if he doesn't show up, they might get lit up for 6 goals. It all depends for me. So this is just too weird of a matchup for me to really even make an opinionated call on, I guess.
No, I totally agree, especially because both Sorokin's been hot and cold, but as has Vancouver's offense, right?
Yeah,
they scored 4 total goals in their last 2 games. Then prior to that, they pelted 17 over 3 games. You just don't know what you're going to get on either side. Definitely makes it a incredibly difficult game.
Yeah, it's a complete roll of the dice.
Nate's fine, man. You got something for the people?
Yeah, I definitely lean the Islanders here. Spencer Martin is dog water in that. I mean, he's terrible. He's allowing 3.9 goals against on the year. The only issue is these Islanders lack upside in DFS perspective. Could they pop? Absolutely. I mean, 4 of their last 4 games, have all gone over this total of 6. So I lean slightly to the over here. Last game was 4-3, 6-3, 5-4, 4-3. So at least 7 goals in their last 4, with 2 of them pushing 9. So don't hate the over call here. Which if I like the over, I tend to like some of the DFS players. The Islanders have the best matchup here. Vancouver's power play or penalty kill is 32nd in the league at home. The only issue is the Islanders have a 0% power play rate in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So, and Vancouver only gives up 2.2 chances roughly per game over that span. So they limit penalties, but when they do get on the penalties, they suck on the penalty kill. So it's kind of a weird scenario there. And obviously the Islanders are struggling on the power play. They have failed to cash in on any of those in the last 3 to 5 games. I pulled up power play numbers usually the last 2 weeks roughly. So it's not been good for them. But Vancouver does allow nearly 4 goals per game last 5 at home. So someone from these Oilers or from these Islanders are going to score. Who it's going to be, I'm not exactly sure. Brock Nelson line, I tend to lean there with Beauvillier and Anders Lee. I like them quite a bit. Brock's shooting the puck right around 4 times per game. He's 6.3K. Don't hate that. Has pretty good history against Vancouver as well. So don't hate that. JT Miller obviously is an RPS legend. He's 5.2K. Don't hate him. Anders Lee, same thing, 5.6K. Has 2 down games following his previous 5 where he was playing well. So look for a bounce back there. I like him quite a bit. But that's where I'm at. I don't know if I full stack this Islanders team. Like I said, they lack upside. They just have lines that can score. Even their depth lines can score. And it just seems every time they score, it's a different line. So it's kind of frustrating for DFS purposes. But I will lean that second line. And then on the Vancouver side, they can score. Again, Sorokin, I can't get this guy right. Every time I've played high dollar NHL stuff, the Qs and things like that, 4-4-4s. He's been in my lineup naturally, and every time he's buried it. I get the offense right, get the stacks right, and I sit at a 2-point night from Sorokin in that, which obviously usually doesn't get it done for you. When the goalie's typically supposed to be one of your highest scores in terms of, it's much like a pitcher, obviously in MLB. So that's where I'm at. It's a fine game, fine hammer game. As a pick'em, I think Vegas agrees. I lean towards the over. It's just I don't know where the goals are going to come from, so that makes it hard in the DFS side. But definitely lean the Islanders second line here mainly.
Love it. All right. Well, that's that's why I have a 3-man panel. So when two of us can't make a decision, someone can come through. All right. Before we get to best bet, be sure to hit that like button. Check out all the content coming out at Run Pure. Just a reminder of some of the goal scorers that we've liked to this point. We've been hitting them like crazy on the show. The 3 biggest ones were DeBrincat, Forsberg, and Hyman. Were 3 of the big ones we mentioned. So check those out. I'll open us up with our best bet. Give me the Carolina money line at -130. Tanner, man, what do you got for the people?
I've got a wordy parlay here. I go into the 4-legger, which is a little larger than I like to go with, especially for hockey. This game can just be so finicky sometime. I know someone's going to let me down. But you can go with the Panthers, Leafs, Predators, all money line. Then I've got the Lightning -1.5. You get +343 on DraftKings for it. It's just, yeah. Or you can just go money line for all of them and get a +227 there. But I think Tampa can more than cover against this Blackhawks team. So again, it's Panthers, Leafs, Predators, all money line, and then the Bolts puck line.
Panthers, Leafs, Predators. Love it. I love it.
And Bolts puck line?
Bolts puck line.
What was that odds?
For puck line, you get +343 on DraftKings.
Okay. I'm just posting in the chat. And then what was your best bet?
I took the Hurricanes. I was a little more conservative. I just took a 1-legger. Hurricanes -130 money line.
Okay. And then I'm looking up the odds real quick here. 1 second. I'm definitely – let me go to this Predators game here. And I'm going to go anytime goal scorer at Forsberg +110. I don't hate that. Plus money on him on Tuesday in this nut matchup. I like that. And then what was the other one that was +365? I think we talked about.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll go for. Yeah, I forgot. I'll go Forsberg as my best bet there. Plus money to score a goal. And then my favorite dog on the board is the LA Kings. So give me the Kings. Give me Forsberg to score a goal, and that's where I'm at. So
love it. We are here every Tuesday, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern for y'all, breaking down the entire NHL slate. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always,